Hello all! I think this is a little... Hold on. I think this seems off-center. Anyways. Oh. Wait, that's another thing I forgot. Let me... That's quite important. I need to make sure my animations are running. I mean, that's not quite important, but it is something worth making sure gets happen. Okay, so I click the button. And I click the button. Okay, it's working. Well, let me just... One last check. Okay, yeah. Good. Now. I... Well, I don't think anyone's actually watching yet. But that's fine. So, anyone who happens to be reading the description of this stream likely knows what this is about. Make sure everything is in the right way and maybe set it running. Quite important. Oh, hold on. I will be right back. Oh, hello. Yes. Okay. Let me also, hold on, we may also, where's the new window for that? So I can minimize that down. Put this around here, that there. Okay. So, as I was saying, I've got like some Python code. Most of it ripped off from DougDoug. Some ripped off from other people. I don't remember all who right now. But I have, I mean, some of it is code that I put together, technically speaking. Anyways, so this is kind of a proof of concept, or not, or a test to see how long this can actually run for, because I had to gut like a lot of code because I am not using ChatGPT or the OpenAI models. I'm using a far smaller local model that uses different parlance or something. This energy drink isn't actually very good, taste-wise. I mean, it's gummy bear flavor. It tastes like gummy bears, I guess, kind of. But it also says sour gummy bear. It doesn't taste sour enough to me. I was under the assumption it would be a little more sour than that. But okay. I am digressing. I am going to turn over to the, so, boom. So I got here three AIs, right? I'm gonna shrink them a little more. I think that's text that you can probably read. I don't know if you can read the third name there. You know what? That's fine if you can't. We'll just ignore that. No, you know what? Hold on. I'm just gonna pop into here. Make it maybe make that cyan. Yeah, that's better. Right? Yeah, okay, you can read that. Okay. Why did I even... I want to put that there. So, assuming this works, because there have been things that have made it not work, but assuming this works, and I don't know what the things that made it not work are, but assuming this works, I'll be able to start a little conversation. Amongst these three. About video games. Now, the original DougDoug had, like, a point about, oh, you know, what games are going to be mentioned? You know, can they get a bingo? I'm just going to have a checklist, I think. Let me make one up. Sort of quickish. That ought to do. Okay. We'll just make like a list. Actually, I can't really read the text now. Hold on. Okay, let me see here. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. You know, I'll just put in like a background or something. About, what's a good one? What's a good background? I don't know if I have one here. This works. Okay. So I'm gonna make like a... I'm gonna make like a list here. I did not press that button. Also, there has been an error. Why is that there? Okay, hold on. I gotta reset some code. It's apparently not working. Okay, and then... do I have to... where is that? So... there's like a boolean in here that's wrong somewhere. Where is that? That's not it. That's not it. I swear I can... Ah! There it is. Okay, maybe I change that to false. Don't you just love coding? Don't you love it? I put too much sauce on these chicken nuggets. I'm gonna have to make some more. This is good sauce. I don't want to waste it. Okay, trying that again. Trying this again. Hello. Run the file. Run the file. File is starting. Going through the startup process. Okay. Seems like that's back up to running. Let me just make a checklist here. Oh, hold on. I guess I will Just... That's not too noticeable, right? Okay, let me start over. Graphic design is my passion, if you couldn't tell. Oh, one of the agents activated. So I guess we'll see if the... Nope! Nope, that still did not work. That still did not work. That's great. What do you mean it's not there? Okay. Let me... Okay. Alright. Let me just... Look. I'll put those back on sometime, alright? Alright. You know what? I'll be back. Okay. Why is that there? You know what? Maybe I should, maybe I should actually... Do. Okay, moving around some keys. Oh yeah, and let me see here. Oh, this didn't actually run. I said run the file! I'm clicking a button! Okay. Maybe I close and reopen VS Code, how about? Huh? How about? Perhaps. Note that. Okay. WebSocket's connected. Alright, let's see if it works. It's generating. I forgot to empty the cache, didn't I? It'll be coming in like mid conversation. Ah, darn it, of course not. No, of course not. Ah. And why did it not work that time? Destroy those. Okay. Empty the cache. I swear to cripes, mate. We had things working, like, completely fine. It worked completely fine once. Twice, even. Twice it worked completely fine. I can't remember if it was 3 times in a row or not. Okay. That. And then this. I mean, I did notice some weirdness, I think. So that's if that. Okay, so that's if. What about? Uh, okay. Okay. I don't know. Let me try this. Let me try this again. Okay. Generates the answer. And not. Gah! Darn it! Didn't work. Okay. Okay. Bigger bootstrap. No. No. That. Then. Okay, so it's line 167. That's the one I've been. What if I said all the true? Okay, where is, was it in here? Okay, and then... Maybe if I move this... Okay, I'm also going to roll this die that I have here. Ooh, came up 6. That could mean something good. It could. I don't know. I've heard stupider things have happened when coding. Also going to delete these. Okay. Said someone talking. Damn you! Code! What is wrong with you? Permission denied. I see. Well, why is permission being denied? I didn't give you permission to deny permission. This my damn computer. Gotta get something right at some point. I swear it was working just like not even an hour ago.
It's precisely this nostalgic glorification of manual labor Tony espouses that reveals a deeply ingrained societal oppression.
Ah!
The narrative of excitement derived from hardship is a thinly veiled justification
one
for
of them's
systems
working.
designed to keep...
I'm just gonna... Like, okay, I'm cutting that off there. I don't want to, like, ruin any kind of surprises. And then the second one is this. The second one is when it stops working. Okay, okay. Okay, maybe I set this to false. Get rid of those. Get rid of those. Get rid of those. Okay, okay. Let's check. It might work this time, maybe, potentially. Why that way? Why must this be? Ah! What if I just set those all to false? Why does that never work? Okay, what if I do false, false, true? Come on, big money. No! Can I get something that works for more than once? Okay. Disingradable honkaloni. It never works! I don't even know what made it not work that time. Come on. Okay. That one's working. It's working a little bit. And the second one did not work. Why did it even try to convert something? What do you mean converted? That's not one of the things that's supposed to be on. Okay. First one went through. Oh, it might be working. Let's see if it can go for 3 messages in a row. Okay. 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 I think I might have got this one working. Let me also just, There. Alright. Now, unless this broke in the 20 seconds between me turning it off and me turning this back on, we should be good. We should be. And if we're not, then I'm turning this off and I'm playing Balatro. And then I would get more mad. So let's hope this works. Set that on. All right. Okay. All right. A moment of double truth. All right. I'm going to press this button. And little Betty in the middle. Oh, I forgot to... You know what? Okay. I'm gonna change one thing. All right? That's one line, that's one segment of text, not an important one. Not in the context of the programming, at least. Just to make sure the names line up. Now, unless something has broken in the past couple of minutes or so, we should be good. Alright? I'm gonna press this button, and Betty is gonna tell us about video games. Alright? Okay. It's generate. What do you mean? What do you mean? I changed nothing! Okay. I can get this working. I can. I can get this working. I know I can get this working because I have gotten this working. It was working when it was off camera. Which is certainly something, right? Sure does happen to be a thing that happened, wasn't it? One more try. One other try. Wait! Did something go missing there? I feel like I'm trying to wrangle Michigan J fucking Frog here! That's the frog that sings and dances in the Looney Tunes, if you don't know. Oh, I swear! upon all that is not holy on this wretched planet, you are going to work. You ugly thing. No, you know what? I don't know. It ain't fucking working no more. I don't get it. Okay. Oh!
Best video games of all time. That's easy. It's gotta be Doom, see. My Uncle Sal, he was a rocket
Okay, I
scientist.
think I got it working.
Well, not really a scientist, more like a guy who knew how to make things explode. He said that game practically invented the concept of catharsis, and frankly, after a long day on the job site, a little pixelated demon slaying is exactly what a guy needs.
And that was Larry, but oh, come on! Do not tell, don't give me that! It worked it worked for one message. Sure. Great. No, of course not. Why would it start? Why would it start working? I'm just messing with 3 little booleans. 3 itsy bitsy booleans. I swear I'm going crazy. It might just be the text-to-speech voice I have set for that one. Honestly, if that's the problem, then I'll be irritated. Because this messes some real barnacles, it is.
My passion? You think some little bug hunt is a passion? I built bridges, lady. Real things, not pixels. My uncle Sal, he used to say the best game ever was Pac-Man, because it taught you how to avoid the commies chasing you, or so he claimed. It was a good lesson, I tell ya.
Okay. Maybe it works, maybe? One?
Pac-Man.
Oh.
Really, Larry? You reduce the complexities of digital narrative to a simplistic allegory for political oppression. The inherent power dynamics within those mazes, the relentless pursuit, it's a microcosm of capitalist exploitation, isn't it? It speaks volumes about the oppressed navigating a system designed to consume them.
Also, that's the wrong picture to be moving. It's supposed to be that one.
Hold on a second, Karen. Capitalist exploitation? You're reading too much into a game about a yellow circle eating dots. My cousin Vinny, he swore Space Invaders was about the Red Menace invading Earth, and frankly, I'm starting to think he was right. You young folks and your fancy theories, sometimes a game is just a damn good time, ya know?
So, I think I know what the problem is here. with the moving of the pictures. And now it breaks! It breaks on that one specifically. Okay. You know, maybe if I move that over there. What if I do that? Does that change anything at all? Okay. Starting over. Trying over. Trying again.
Oh my goodness, the best video games of all time. This is amazing. I've been thinking about this for ages, and I have so many ideas whirling in my head. Do you think we should start with something classic, like The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time? I remember finding a hidden room in that game as a kid. It was tucked away behind a waterfall. I spent hours trying to find it.
And broken.
Ocarina of Time.
Oh.
A nostalgic indulgence, really.
Okay, I guess I
But
can
let us
indulge.
not
I
forget
guess
the
I can
inherent
ignore that
power
then.
structures embedded within such narratives. A white protagonist saving a world often implicitly constructed upon colonialist tropes. It's all quite revealing when you consider the historical context and how it's replicated in these so-called masterpieces.
I might have to restart the OBS or something.
Listen, Karen, you wanna dissect a goddamn video game like it's a thesis paper? Get outta here with that woke bullshit. I played Ocarina of Time when I was a kid, and I was too busy trying to get to Hyrule Castle to worry about some colonialist tropes. My uncle Sal, he used to say, just enjoy the damn game, kid, and stop overthinking it, and believe me, Sal knew a thing or two about enjoying things.
It's throwing up an error message between each thing, but it is working somehow. Is someone else moving? No? Is the... Okay, great! Nope, now there's a new problem. Gonna do something? Come on! Okay. There's still a chance. There is a chance for this to work. Okay. Press the button.
Oh my goodness, the best video games of all time. This is absolutely thrilling. I have so many opinions and stories bubbling up inside me, where do we even begin? Do you think we should start with something classic, like The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time? I remember the first time I played that, I was convinced I could actually become a Link and travel to Hyrule.
That's one response.
Ocarina of Time. A quaint little fantasy escapade, isn't it? It conveniently glosses over the inherent power structures embedded within feudal societies, a narrative of a chosen one perpetuating the very system he's meant to overthrow. The way Link is presented, a blank slate for the player's desires, is itself a form of ideological control, mirroring how narratives of individual heroism are used to mask systemic oppression.
Wow. Hold on a second. I hadn't even thought about it like that. That's incredibly insightful, Karen, and honestly, a little bit mind-blowing. It makes you think about games in a whole new way, doesn't it? I've always been so caught up in the adventure and the puzzles, but you're right, there's so much more layered beneath the surface.
Larry?
Listen, you fancy pants academics are overthinking a simple game. Back in '98, my uncle Sal, a real know-it-all about these video games, always saying he invented half of them, told me Ocarina of Time was peak American storytelling. It's about a kid saving the day, yeah no? Simple, effective, unlike your communist theories, which are just a load of bullshit.
Alright, Larry. That was good. Can we keep in that vein?
Communist theories. Please, the very notion that a narrative of individual triumph can absolve a system of inherent injustice reveals a deeply ingrained ideological blind spot. Your Uncle Sal's simple assessment conveniently ignores the historical context. The very power imbalances that inform
It
the
seems
game's
like this is
world are
working.
mirrored in the capitalist
It
structures
seems
that
like it's
funded its
working, so I'm
creation
gonna
and
cross off
continue to
Zelda because they
perpetuate
started with
inequality
that one.
today.
Okay?
It's a blatant example of how the dominant narrative reinforces the status quo, demanding we accept oppression as inevitable.
You're twisting words like a cheap rug, lady. My Uncle Sal wouldn't understand this. He was a tough guy, built this city with his own two hands, not some armchair philosopher. He always said a good game lets you escape the bullshit, not analyze it to death like you snowflakes. And frankly, your whole take sounds like something a commie would spew out of their mouth.
Escape the bullshit. Such a simplistic, willfully ignorant perspective. The very act of escaping into a fabricated reality while ignoring the realities of oppression is a form of complicity. It allows individuals to remain complacent within systems that actively harm marginalized communities, much like the developers of Ocarina of Time benefited from exploitative labor practices during its production. This isn't about snowflakes, it's about recognizing the inherent power dynamics
really wish I
embedded within
hadn't,
every facet of our
swapped
existence,
Betty's voice to
including
the
games we
Spanish
consume.
one. That's like Microsoft, I forget the name, but it's the, like, female voice for Mexican Spanish. I put it in because, like, I was gonna do, like, a character.
Alright, you wanna play smarts?
Anyways.
Fine. My cousin Vinny, he used to fix arcade machines back in the day, told me there was this game called Doom. Pure, unadulterated action. No fancy power dynamics or oppression bullshit, just you blasting demons and feeling like a goddamn hero. Now that's escapism, not some guilt trip about labor practices.
I'm just gonna write down
Oh my
ones
goodness,
that...
Doom. I heard whispers of Doom, the sheer velocity and intensity of it all sounds absolutely exhilarating. Imagine, just your demon slaying action does it have a particular level that people rave about. I'm so curious to hear more about the gameplay mechanics and the atmosphere they created.
I'm glad this appears to be working. Appearances can be very deceiving. They're not in this case. I hope. I'm not seeing any errors on my end this time.
Exhilarating. Yeah, it's a goddamn bloodbath. My Uncle Sal used to say the best part was the sound design, the roar of the demons, the gunfire, made you feel like you were right in the middle of a war. He swore he once heard a guy actually shriek after playing it for 8 hours straight. It ain't pretty, but it gets the job done, see.
Wow. A bloodbath that sounds intensely immersive. I'm picturing the sound design now, the roar of demons and gunfire, it's like a symphony of chaos. Do you think the level design contributed to that feeling of being in the middle of a war?
Kinda hoping I was able to use Microsoft Zero. But I am not stopping this, because if I stop this, it's just gonna break. Somehow. I should have brought a rubber duck. I should have brought like I should have 3D printed like a Porygon or something. I should have sacrificed like... I should have sacrificed some snacks
design,
on the altar.
It's all about tight corridors and claustrophobic spaces, designed to make you feel like you're trapped with these monsters. My cousin Frankie, he used to mod these games back in the day, said they intentionally made the maps confusing so you wouldn't know what was coming. That's how you keep the adrenaline pumping, yeah here?
Oh good. Guess who's up next?
Confusing level design isn't merely a gameplay mechanic, it mirrors the disorientation and lack of agency experienced by those subjected to systemic oppression. The deliberate creation of inescapable spaces reflects historical patterns of confinement and control. Think of the physical and psychological barriers erected to maintain power imbalances, echoing in the game's architecture. This isn't just about adrenaline, it's a coded representation of societal power dynamics, masked as entertainment.
I am gonna see how long this goes before it breaks. Also, I have this checklist. Maybe they should get on some of the video game. I mean, I'm not gonna tell them anything. That might break it also.
That's incredibly fascinating, Karen. I never thought about level design being such a powerful tool for conveying those feelings of confinement and lack of control. It's like the game is actively telling you something about power. Does anyone else remember specific levels that really amplify that feeling?
Oh, are you cooking up a storm there, Karen? Hello? It's still generating. Okay. Getting a little worried there.
Indeed, the claustrophobic corridors and labyrinthine layouts are not accidental. They evoke a primal fear of being trapped, a sentiment deeply resonant with the experiences of marginalized communities historically subjected to
I
confinement
told them
and
not to use
control.
M-dashes.
Consider the deliberate use
I
of
asked them
limited
not to,
visibility,
and they keep
mirroring
using
the
them.
ways in which dominant narratives often obscure the realities of oppression from those who experience it daily. This isn't merely about atmosphere, it's a calculated manipulation of spatial awareness to reinforce a power dynamic.
Really feeling the AI generation in this text. But that's because I'm using, like, that's because the model I'm using, I think. No, all
Wow,
AIs write
Karen,
like that.
you're really digging into the intentionality of these design choices. It's like the developers were consciously crafting these spaces to evoke specific emotional responses that's so clever. I'm starting to see how much deeper analysis can reveal layers of meaning we might otherwise miss.
Larry, what do you think? What does Larry think about this? Oh, I got a head rush. I was mad earlier. Now I'm just nervous. Very nervous. Text generation might be taking longer as context increases in length. I don't have an automatic context
all
length
this fancy
reducer.
talk about power dynamics in a video game, it's just a bunch of highfalutin nonsense. My uncle Sal, he built bridges, real bridges, not imaginary ones in some pixelated world, always said a good game is about shooting things and having a good time. If you're looking for a lesson in oppression, go read a book, not play a goddamn video game.
Yeah. I should have some backing music for this. Where's my royalty-free music?
But Larry, isn't it possible that even games about shooting things can reflect societal attitudes and power structures in subtle ways? Maybe the way the characters are portrayed, or the choices we get to make as players, hint at deeper things. I mean, even something seemingly simple could have layers of meaning if you look closely enough.
Are we gonna move on to a different game as well, Karen? I'd like that, if you did.
The assertion that a medium capable of simulating entire worlds cannot reflect societal attitudes is not only intellectually lazy but actively dangerous. Dismissing the potential for analysis because it doesn't fit a predetermined framework like your Uncle Sal's limited understanding of reality is precisely how oppressive systems maintain their power. Even seemingly simple mechanics can encode and reinforce existing hierarchies, shaping our perceptions of violence, heroism, and agency within a given narrative.
Damn. I tell you, AI is perfectly able to write that. It's like I'm listening to a real Karen.
Alright, you wanna get all high and mighty about encoding hierarchies. My cousin Frankie, he used to build these crazy custom consoles, told me there was this game called Street Fighter.
Street Fighter,
Pure
that's a good one.
Man. It's about skill, not some politically correct mumbo jumbo. You win, you're a hero, you lose, suck it up. That's the world, see? Not some fairy tale about oppression.
Skill as a metric conveniently obscures the systemic advantages and disadvantages that shape access to those very skills. The narratives surrounding competition often mask the inherent inequalities in resources, training, and opportunities, mirroring how historical power structures perpetuate disparities in various fields, including competitive gaming itself. Street Fighter, despite its emphasis on individual prowess, can be interpreted as a microcosm of societal hierarchies where certain groups are systematically disadvantaged from the outset.
You're reaching for straws, lady. Frankie also said that in Street Fighter, Ryu was a stoic wanderer looking for a fight, no hidden agendas, just pure grit. He wasn't some victim of society or nothing. He just wanted to be the best, and he worked for it. That's American spirit right there, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
There we go. Actually, no, I think I left out a few things. No, I'm kidding. No, but, yeah, whatever.
The romanticization of individual grit as a substitute for addressing systemic barriers is a deeply problematic narrative rooted in the very ideologies that perpetuate oppression. Ryu's stoicism conveniently ignores the historical and social contexts that shape his journey, a narrative stripped of any consideration for power imbalances or inherited disadvantages. To portray such a character as embodying American spirit is to ignore the realities faced by those who lack access to the same resources and opportunities, effectively reinforcing a harmful myth of individual responsibility over collective action.
At least this seems to be working now. I've said that a few times, but I'm still glad. Still glad about it.
Listen, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. My Uncle Sal, he was a simple man, understood simple things, said Street Fighter was about heart. You gotta have heart to win, and that ain't something you learn from reading books about oppression. It's something you do. And sometimes, you just gotta punch someone in the face to get ahead.
I'm just waiting until we run out of context length or something.
Wow, that's a very direct interpretation of the art aspect. It's fascinating how different people can find such drastically different meanings within the same game. It really highlights the subjective nature of experience. I wonder if the developers intended that kind of raw energy to be part of the game's appeal.
Yeah, the prompts are taking a bit longer. I don't know if we're gonna get through this checklist. Uh-oh.
The inherent violence normalized within Street Fighter's gameplay, framed as a demonstration of heart and personal agency, reflects a dangerous societal acceptance of aggression as a means of achieving goals. This isn't simply subjective interpretation, it mirrors historical power dynamics where violence has been used to maintain control and suppress dissent, often justified by narratives of individual strength and determination. The game's appeal lies precisely in its ability to tap into these deeply ingrained patterns of dominance and submission, offering a vicarious experience of unchecked power.
That's incredibly astute, Karen. The way violence is framed as art it's like a really clever way to justify aggressive behavior within the games world. It makes you think about how games can subtly reinforce societal attitudes towards conflict and power.
Okay, I don't know why the, well, whatever.
Alright, enough with the philosophical crap. My Uncle Sal, he was a tough customer, knew how things were, always said a good game lets you blow off steam. Sometimes you gotta let loose, yeah no? It ain't about reinforcing societal attitudes or nothing. It's about feeling alive, feeling powerful. That's what makes a game worthwhile.
The notion that a virtual space offers a harmless outlet for aggression ignores the potential for desensitization and the normalization of violence in real-world interactions. The act of letting loose within a game environment can inadvertently reinforce harmful behavioral patterns, particularly when coupled with narratives that glorify dominance over vulnerability. This isn't simply about feeling alive, it's about the subtle ways in which games contribute to the perpetuation of oppressive power structures and discourage empathy.
Oh, empathy! Great! We're at that part of the podcast, are we? Here's my stopwatch. What's the latency on this?
It's really unsettling to think about how even games designed for escapism could potentially reinforce negative behaviors. Yet they consider the impact on our real-world interactions. That's a pretty heavy thought. It makes you wonder about the responsibility of game developers in shaping the experiences of players.
I told that one to dislike politics. Oh, you know why they're still moving after the text-to-speech stops? It's because I'm playing music. So that's not even gonna line up very well with the... but I'd have to, like, rewrite bits of the code to make it use, like, the virtual audio cable, and I don't want to do that. No, sir. No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, it is taking over a minute between messages now. Coming up on a minute and a half. It is actually getting longer. Oh dear. Well, I would need to figure...
Responsibility. Developers. They just make the damn games. My uncle Sal, he built these buildings, didn't worry about what anyone thought. He made M strong, solid. And Street Fighter is strong, it's solid action. If people want to act like thugs, that ain't the game's fault, it's their own damn problem. Now, if you'll
Yeah,
excuse me,
that.
I gotta go fix a leaky pipe.
Music? Okay.
I understand your point about individual responsibility, Larry, but doesn't that overlook the power of suggestion and the subtle ways games can shape our perceptions. It's like, even if a game doesn't explicitly tell you to be aggressive, it can still influence how we think about conflict and dominance.
I don't know. I'm on Larry's side so far. Sorry, there's just dust on my mic filter. Or not the filter, the screen that goes in front of the mic, whatever it's called. Actually, heck, there's a lot of dust on this. Well, I got the fan blowing on it, that's probably why. I mean, not right now, but when I put away the microphone, I usually keep the fan blowing on it. May not be a great idea. In fact, there's a lot of dust, like, right where that fan's blowing. That little, alcove it's going through. Well, whatever. Not my problem yet.
Influence. You're getting all soft again. My uncle Sal, he used to say you gotta trust your gut, not listen to some fancy theory. Games are for fun, plain and simple. If you're thinking too much about power structures and perceptions, you're missing the whole damn point. Now go play something with some explosions.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I will if I get bored of this. I don't know why the TTS is taking so long, too. I mean, I guess I understand for Karen when she talks. But for the others, I don't get it. There's some mad latency considering using Windows text-to-speech.
Dismissing the potential for games to subtly influence our perceptions is akin to ignoring the insidious ways in which historical narratives have perpetuated oppression. The argument that individuals are solely responsible for their actions ignores the powerful role of cultural forces, including those embedded within entertainment, in shaping beliefs and behaviors. To deny this influence is to willfully ignore the very systems of power that perpetuate
Can we get back to video games,
rendering
guys?
discussions about game design as frivolous distractions.
I gotta make it so it stops, like, queuing up the next person before the last person stops talking. I understand that's gonna add, like, a bit of latency, but I don't know. Maybe I won't, actually. You know what I could also do? I could just use a smaller model, maybe.
Frivolous distractions. You're talking about games like they're some kind of political manifesto. My Uncle Sal, he wouldn't stand for that kind of nonsense. Games are supposed to be an escape, a break from all the bullshit in the real world. If you want to analyze power structures, go protest, or something, don't go picking apart a good time.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty unpolished, but this works. It worked this time.
But isn't it possible that finding those deeper meanings within games can actually enhance the experience? It's like adding another layer of richness and complexity, a whole new way to appreciate the artistry and the storytelling. I think it's about being able to engage with media on multiple levels.
Hey guys, let's keep on the topic of video games. Talk about a different game this time. Okay, I sent a message to them. Hopefully that does not destroy the entire Jenga tower we're operating under. Okay, I think I might be giving Karen one more click before it before it sends my message. That's fine. Everything is fine. Context full. Okay, well, it apparently automatically discarded some tokens.
To suggest that seeking deeper meaning diminishes the value of a game fundamentally misunderstands the nature of art and storytelling, which often serve as powerful vehicles for social commentary. The ability to engage with media on multiple levels is not a distraction, it's an essential element of critical thinking, allowing us to unpack the ideologies embedded within narratives and challenge the status quo. This isn't about picking apart a good time, it's about actively engaging with the cultural forces that shape our perceptions and reinforce or subvert oppressive power structures.
Alright, enough with the fancy talk. You wanna talk games? Fine. My Uncle Sal, he loved a good racing game. Said it was all about speed, skill, and outrun in the competition. That's what I like to see, something straightforward, no need for all this philosophizing. Now, what game are we talking about?
Okay. I meant to ask them to say something specific, but it looks like Betty's picking up the slack now. Betty's picking a topic.
Oh, racing games. That's fantastic. This sheer thrill of pushing a vehicle to its limits, that feeling of speed and
Racing
control,
games in general, okay.
It makes you wonder about the evolution of vehicle designing games, how realistic they strive to be while still maintaining that exhilarating sense of velocity.
You know, I think that energy drink I had earlier might not have been good for me. I'm starting to get the shakes. Might also just be leftover adrenaline from the coding session earlier.
Realistic. My Uncle Sal used to say, real life ain't about realism, it's about winning. He played Gran Turismo back in the day.
Gran
said he could practically
Turismo!
smell the
That
exhaust
is a
fumes.
racing game!
And that's what matters.
Specific
right?
racing game.
Feel the speed, dominate the track, leave the other guys in the dust. That's how you play a game.
At least apparently. I mean, I think I've heard of that one. I'm not a big racing games fan. I'm sorry to all the racing games fan all the racing game fan, singular, who is watching my stream.
The emphasis on winning within racing games mirrors a broader societal obsession with competitive dominance, often at the expense of collaboration and empathy. This ingrained prioritization of individual achievement can be seen as a reflection of capitalist ideologies that perpetuate inequality and discourage collective action. It's this very dynamic, the relentless pursuit of individual victory over others,
Okay,
that resonates
yeah,
with the
so
oppressive power structures
automatic
I'm so
context
vehemently opposed
management.
to.
That's good. There seems to be auto context management built into my, like, language model manager. Something I didn't know, but something that is useful.
But isn't there something really satisfying about mastering a difficult track, even if you don't necessarily win every time? It's about the skill and perseverance, that feeling of accomplishment when you finally nail a tricky corner or overtake an opponent. That sense of personal growth within the game is what makes it so engaging for me.
If only they talked about Mario Kart, I would accepted that for this here.
That inherent satisfaction in overcoming challenges within a game, the feeling of mastery achieved through perseverance, directly parallels the struggles faced by marginalized communities navigating systems designed to oppress them. The resilience demonstrated in conquering difficult tracks mirrors the collective strength required to dismantle systemic barriers and fight for liberation. To dismiss this as mere engaging ignores the powerful metaphor inherent in these experiences, a metaphor deeply intertwined with the history of resistance against oppression.
Wow, that's a really insightful way to look at it. I hadn't thought about the parallels like that before. It makes you appreciate the design choices in games even more, doesn't it? Like how the difficulty curve is carefully crafted to provide that sense of gradual accomplishment and growth.
You know what? I think I'm just going to... Hold on a second. There we go.
The deliberate crafting of a difficulty curve within games isn't simply about player engagement, it's a microcosm of societal power dynamics where obstacles are strategically placed to test and often reinforce existing hierarchies. This controlled environment mirrors how oppressive systems create artificial barriers to entry, subtly reinforcing the idea that success is only attainable through adherence to established norms often benefiting the already privileged. It's a chillingly effective form of social control disguised as entertainment.
M-dashes are a problem in this. Especially with the TTS engine. It doesn't like M-dashes. It skips them. Unless those are hyphens. Maybe I should tell it not to use hyphens either.
Social control. Now you're getting all highfalutin again. Look, I'm a simple guy, I like to drive fast and win. My Uncle Sal always said, don't overthink it, just floor it. That's the key to any good game, whether it's racing or whatever else you intellectuals are playing. Now leave me alone so I can go back to thinking about how to beat the competition.
But isn't it fascinating how different changes use mechanics to create entirely unique feelings? Like, in a puzzle game, the satisfaction comes from the process of figuring things out, that slow, methodical unraveling of a complex problem. It's almost like a digital representation of intellectual exploration.
Oh, okay. They're talking about puzzle games now. There are certain puzzle games that might come up. Hopefully. Ain't even got nobody watching. Someone will show up.
The deliberate construction of intellectual exploration within puzzle games speaks to the historical suppression of critical thought and independent inquiry, a tactic often employed by those in power to maintain control over information and narratives. These games offer a subversive space for individual agency and problem-solving, directly challenging the imposed limitations on intellectual freedom that are so central to oppressive regimes. It's a quiet rebellion, a digital affirmation of the human capacity for independent thought.
Okay, I'll be right back.
It's amazing how many games incorporate storytelling through
These guys will
environmental
keep you
details and
entertained.
subtle clues. It's like the game is having a conversation with you, guiding you towards understanding without explicitly stating everything. That kind of indirect communication can be so much more impactful than direct exposition, don't you think?
This reliance on subtle environmental storytelling mirrors how marginalized histories are often silenced or misrepresented by dominant narratives, the erasure of voices and experiences that challenge the established power structures. The act of deciphering these hidden meanings within a game becomes an act of resistance, a way to reclaim narratives and uncover truths deliberately concealed by those who benefit from maintaining the status quo. It's a powerful example of how art can be a tool for social change.
Alright, enough with the fancy talk about hidden meanings. I'm tellin' ya, the best stories are the ones you make. My cousin Vinny, he's a real whiz at these RPGs, says it's all about choosing your own path and making your own destiny. That's what makes a game good, not some made up story about oppression or whatever nonsense you're spouting.
But even in games where you make your own path, the choices you have are often shaped by the world around you. The environment, the characters you encounter, they all influence the possibilities available to you. It's like the game is presenting a set of constraints that you have to work within to achieve your goals.
Constraints. You call that freedom? My old man used to say, a good man makes his own opportunities. He's a construction worker, built this whole damn city with his own two hands. A game's gotta give you the tools to build something, not just tell you what to do with what it gives ya. That's how you get results, see.
The very notion of building your own opportunities ignores the deeply ingrained systemic barriers that prevent many from even accessing the foundational resources needed for such endeavor as a reality directly mirroring the historical and ongoing oppression faced by marginalized communities. To suggest that a game's freedom lies solely in the tools provided overlooks the power dynamics inherent in those very tools, often designed to perpetuate existing inequalities. It's a willful blindness to the realities of power and privilege within the supposed free world of gaming.
Oh, here we go again with the systemic barriers. Listen, I've seen more barriers in my life than you've had hot dinners. This ain't some college lecture, this is about games. A good game gives you a chance to be somebody, period. You wanna talk about oppression? Try working a double shift under a boss who doesn't give a damn about you, that's oppression. Now shut your yap and let a guy enjoy his video games.
I'm back. Where was I? Also, has anyone mentioned any other actual games? I should check that for the checklist. So, puzzle game, intellectual, blah, blah, independent thought, storytelling, subtle clues. Fancy talk, Vinny, RPGs. Constraints, freedom, opportunity.
The very concept of being somebody within a game often reinforces pre-existing hierarchies, offering fleeting illusions of agency while perpetuating the dominant narrative of individual achievement over collective liberation, a tactic frequently used to distract from systemic injustices. This focus on individual ascent obscures the crucial role of solidarity and mutual support in dismantling oppressive systems, reducing complex social issues to simplistic notions of personal success. It's a dangerous simplification, a deliberate evasion of the uncomfortable truths about power and privilege that permeate even seemingly innocuous forms of entertainment.
It's so interesting how some games allow you to embody characters from marginalized backgrounds. Seeing the world through their experiences can offer a really unique perspective and challenge your assumptions.
So,
into someone else's shoes metaphorically.
talk about specific video games. Which ones are the best of all time? Okay. Sorry about the, what was it? Whatever that was. Okay.
While superficially appearing as a form of representation, these tokenistic portrayals often fall short of genuine engagement with the complexities of lived experiences within oppressed communities. They become performative gestures rather than meaningful explorations of systemic realities. The very act of stepping into someone else's shoes within a controlled digital environment cannot fully encapsulate the historical and ongoing burdens of oppression, nor can it dismantle the structures that perpetuate those burdens. It risks creating a false sense of empathy while reinforcing the power dynamics that make true.
Oh wow, she actually, Karen actually went outside of the, text window. Oh well, you didn't need to read all that anyway. Oh, looks like Karen's coming back for another round.
The sheer volume of games claiming best of all time status often obscures a critical point. The very definition of best is shaped by dominant cultural narratives and the perspectives of those in power, mirroring how historical accounts are frequently filtered through the lens of the oppressor. Consider Disco Elysium.
All
Its
right.
unflinching portrayal of
specific.
societal decay and the psychological toll of systemic failure offers a far more profound engagement with complex themes than any simplistic celebration of individual heroism. It forces a confrontation with uncomfortable truths about history and power, refusing to offer easy answers or comforting narratives of progress.
I'm gonna look that one up. I don't know if that one's indie or not. I'm pretty sure it is.
Disco Elysium. You're talking about some kind of pretentious art project, ain't ya? I like my games with a little more action. Give me a good old-fashioned shooter where you blow things up and feel like you accomplished something. That's what makes a game worth playing, not some sob story about a broken society.
It is a game about socialism, apparently. So is this like an indie studio or not? Is it designer, engine, platform?
But even in action packed games, the way the world is built and the stories are told can be really
Yeah, I'm gonna
powerful.
say that counts.
Sometimes, the game's mechanics themselves can reflect societal issues like the cost of resources or the consequences of violence. It's like the game is actually commenting on the world around us, even if it's not explicitly stated.
Suddenly comment in, huh. That's just fancy talk for trying to be all smart. A game's gotta be fun first, then maybe it can throw in a little something extra. I played this game once, some military shooter, the ammo was scarce, the enemies were relentless, felt like a real life Tuesday, see. Now that's immersion.
Some military shooter. Well, that's, that doesn't count.
That sounds intense. I think sometimes the most immersive games are the ones where the world feels truly alive and reactive to your actions. It's like you're not just watching a story unfold, but actively participating in it, shaping the world around you with every choice.
Shaping the world. You think you can shape something with a controller? I build things with my own two hands, kid. A game's just pretend, it ain't real life. But if it gets me good and hooked, I ain't gonna complain about pretending for a few hours. Just don't go telling me I'm participating in nothing.
I'm gonna be honest, I can't tell if that's supposed to be a Bronx accent or a Texas one.
I think even though it's pretend, games can still spark real emotions and connections. Sometimes you feel a real sense of accomplishment after overcoming a difficult challenge, or a strong bond with other players. It's like the game creates a little world where those feelings can be explored and shared, and that feels pretty real to me.
The very notion of real emotions within a simulated environment conveniently ignores the historical suppression of genuine emotional expression within oppressed communities, where displays of vulnerability were often met with violence and dispossession. These fleeting moments of accomplishment or connection are merely echoes of the collective struggles for liberation, repackaged as individual triumphs, a dangerous form of internalized oppression that reinforces the very systems we should be dismantling. It's a carefully curated delusion designed to pacify rather than empower.
Okay, Larry's responding to this, thankfully. Betty just sort of encourages whoever goes on.
Internalized oppression? You're starting to sound like one of them commies. I ain't got time for all that fancy talk about feeling things in a video game. A good game gives you a break from reality, something to forget about the bullshit. And if that makes me feel a little something, well, that ain't nobody's business but mine. Now shut your yap before I lose it.
Sorry, those are my knuckles. My knuckles and knuckles.
Wow, that's a really strong reaction. It makes me think about how different games can offer completely different kinds of escapes and experiences. Some are all about intense action, while others focus on creating these really thoughtful and emotionally resonant stories.
Different kinds of escapes? Hell yeah, there are a million different games out there. You got your shooters, your racing games, your, whatever those puzzle things are. But you know what's the best escape? A good game where you can just unwind and forget about all the crap in the real world. That's what I call a victory.
Again, I would like specific games. I mean, I'd have to say that to them, but... well.
I totally agree with that. Sometimes it's nice to completely lose yourself in another world, especially when things get stressful. It's like a mental vacation where you can just focus on the gameplay and the story unfolding before you.
This relentless pursuit of escapism, while seemingly harmless, often serves as a crucial coping mechanism for those who are denied agency and control in their lived realities, a direct consequence of systemic oppression that strips individuals of their power. The very act of immersing oneself in a virtual world becomes a form of resistance, a subtle reclamation of autonomy in the face of overwhelming forces designed to keep us subjugated. It's a desperate attempt to build a space where liberation is possible, even if only temporarily.
That's a really fascinating way to look at gaming. I hadn't thought about it as a form of resistance before, but it makes so much sense. It's like the game becomes a safe space where you can explore different possibilities and find strength in overcoming challenges, even if those challenges are virtual.
Don't ruin gaming by comparing it to a safe space. Larry? Oh. I'm gonna want Larry to get in here in a little bit. Just noticed there was one of those smudge resistor films on this little device I have. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it was like fresh out of the package, whatever.
The inherent power structures embedded within many games, the protagonist's
Oh good,
predetermined
Larry's
path,
up next.
the limited agency afforded to the player, often mirror the very systems of oppression we seek to dismantle in the real world. Consider games that offer choices but which ultimately funnel players back into preordained narratives, a cleverly disguised form of control, much like the subtle ways power maintains its grip on marginalized communities. It's a disheartening reflection of the world's inequalities, masked as entertainment.
Power structures and preordained narratives. You're making this way more complicated than it needs to be. A game's a game, that's all it is, a bunch of pixels and buttons. If you wanna find some deep meaning in a bunch of pretend, go talk to a shrink. I'm gonna go grab a beer and watch some football, that's my kind of resistance.
We're talking about playing video games here. Larry, you know, I mean, if he said like Madden, that would count.
It's interesting how different people can find such different layers of meaning in the same game. I think even if a game has a clear narrative, the way you interact with it and make choices can still feel empowering. It's like you're reshaping your own experience within those boundaries, even if the overall story is set.
Alright. Hey, discussion moderator again. Just a reminder, we are talking about specific video games. Please talk about specific video games and how they may or may not be the greatest of all time. Alright, Larry gets like one more message before that thing I just said goes through.
Shaping your own experience. Don't be a knucklehead. The game's got rules, and you gotta play by 'em. It ain't about shaping nothing, it's about mastering the damn rules. A good player knows how to exploit those rules, that's skill, see. Now go back to your fancy philosophy and leave me alone.
You re-rigged, I got a little carried away with the philosophy there, my apologies. It makes me think about the Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
Okay,
The way you
we
explore
have
Irene
already
and
gone
solve
through
puzzles
that
feels so
one,
incredibly
but that
freeing,
was so long
like
ago
you
they
were
probably
twins chapel
forgot.
an adventure.
And then Larry's gonna say something. I really need to figure out what I need to change on this so that it'll wait until one person is done speaking before the next person starts.
Freeing. You call getting chased by a giant chicken freeing. Look, Ocarina of Time was alright, I'll give you that. But it's not the greatest game ever made. It's just a game. Now, if we're talking about truly great games, you gotta talk about something with some grit.
And no example given. So, what's Karen going to bring up?
The very notion of grit in a video game often masks a romanticized portrayal of struggle, conveniently ignoring the systemic disadvantages that fuel real-world hardship, disadvantages frequently experienced by marginalized communities historically denied opportunities and agency. Consider games that depict conflict. Are those conflicts organically driven, or are they the result of oppressive forces perpetuated through carefully constructed narratives? It's easy to glorify battles when the underlying power imbalances remain unexamined, a dangerous form of complacency.
That's a really insightful point about how grit can be portrayed. It makes me think about Shadow of the Colossus. The protagonist faces the beings, but it's not just about brute force. There's a profound sense of loneliness and a questioning of the cost of his actions.
Okay, that's a game, specific game. There's not a lot of places to write. Oh, hold on. Yeah, Shadow of the Shadow.
The deliberate isolation of the protagonist in Shadow of the Colossus mirrors the historical erasure of marginalized voices and experiences, a silencing tactic employed by those in power to maintain their dominance. This solitude isn't merely a narrative device, it's a potent symbol of the individual's struggle against overwhelming, often indifferent, systems designed to crush dissent. The colossi themselves become metaphors for the systemic barriers that must be confronted, not just overcome, to achieve true liberation.
I feel like if I submitted most of what Karen says, I could make it a thesis paper. I could submit it under a pen name, and maybe get some mad internet updates.
Wow, that's a really powerful interpretation of Shadow of the Colossus. I've never thought about the isolation being so directly tied to historical silencing before. It makes you appreciate how much depth can be in a game's atmosphere and visual storytelling. It's not just about what happens, but how it feels.
I do like the Mexican Spanish text-to-speech voice as an accent, But, I'd have to write a character that made use of that accent, I think.
The very mechanics of navigating these vast, empty landscapes can be interpreted as a metaphor for the challenges faced by those who have been historically displaced or denied access to resources, forcing them to constantly navigate systems not designed for their survival. It's a digital representation of a world actively working against the well-being of certain groups, demanding resilience and resourcefulness simply to exist. This isn't just artistic flourish, it reflects a painful reality often overlooked in mainstream narratives.
The more I listen to Karen, the more I realize that, yeah, AI is just going to be writing people's essays now. I even told her to talk in bullshit.
That's such a profound way to look at the exploration in Shadow of the Colossus. It really highlights how game design can tackle complex social issues. I always appreciate when a game makes you think about the world beyond just the immediate story. It's like uncovering hidden layers of meaning.
Larry, you've been awfully quiet. I say, as if I have any control of who speaks when. I mean, I do, but I haven't exercised that control. So what's Larry gonna say?
Hidden layers of meaning, huh? Sounds like a bunch of hooey to me. A game's supposed to be fun, not some damn social studies lesson.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm telling ya, back in my day, games were about shooting things and winning, not dissecting the history of oppression. Now that's entertainment.
By howdy, that is Imperial Cider.
The insistence on pure entertainment conveniently ignores how power structures have historically used leisure activities to distract from real societal problems, a tactic designed to maintain the status quo while pacifying the masses. This refusal to acknowledge the potential for games to engage with difficult realities is itself a form of complicity, actively preventing critical reflection and hindering progress toward a more equitable future. It's a willful blindness to the ways in which entertainment can be a powerful tool for social change.
Yeah, that thankfully that has not been working too well when they try making video games like that. Oh, good, Larry has a response. I'm having too much fun with this. I knew it was gonna devolve into politics. And...
Social change?
yeah.
You think some pixelated bullshit is gonna change anything?
Exactly.
Listen here, lady. People play games to escape the real world.
Yes.
Not to get lectured about it.
Double yes.
That's what makes M great, a damn distraction from all the problems you're so worried about. Now go back to your books and leave me alone. I got things to do, important things.
The very notion of escaping into a fictional world often serves as a mechanism for avoiding engagement with real-world injustices, effectively reinforcing the power structures that perpetuate those inequalities. This selective engagement with reality, choosing escapism over critical reflection, is a common tactic employed by those who benefit from existing systems of oppression. It's a form of intellectual laziness that actively prevents meaningful action and perpetuates a cycle of inaction, conveniently maintaining the status quo for those in power.
Intellectual laziness. You calling me lazy? I've seen more action in a week than you've seen in your whole damn life. Besides, some folks need that escape. They're fighting their own battles, see? A little fantasy ain't gonna hurt nobody, and it sure as hell helps them forget about the crap they gotta deal with every day.
That crap you speak of, systemic oppression, economic inequality, historical trauma, isn't merely a personal burden but a collective societal issue that demands critical engagement, not passive escapism. To suggest that fantasy offers a sufficient balm for such wounds is to actively uphold the systems
Okay,
that
this has
inflict
devolved
those
to
wounds
just
in the first place. It's
Karen
a
and
dangerous
Larry.
dismissal of the very real
I'm
struggles faced by
gonna
marginalized
prompt Betty to
communities
come in.
and a convenient justification for maintaining the status quo.
Don't stop music. There you go.
Dangerous dismissal. You're talking crazy, lady. I'm just saying, people need a break. What's wrong with wanting to blow up some aliens or build a damn empire? It ain't my job to fix the whole world in a video game, that's for politicians and communists. And don't you go accusing me of upholding nothing. I'm just trying to have a good time, like any other American.
Larry's right.
This whole exchange about escapism versus engagement is fascinating. It reminds me of Papers, Please, where you
Oh,
constantly confront
that's a
it with
specific
moral
video
choices
game.
in a very real,
Um,
oppressive system. It's not just
one that,
entertainment. It forces you to grapple with those realities. That game really makes you think about the power of narrative to spark empathy and critical thought.
Yeah, don't you start, Betty. Don't you start on that. Anyway, that's technically an indie game. Is it already 9 o'clock local time? Goodness me.
The very design of such games forcing players into positions of moral compromise within oppressive frameworks mirrors the lived experiences of those who are constantly navigating systemic barriers and power imbalances in their daily lives. It's a potent example of how interactive narratives can act as a form of vicarious experience, fostering empathy and challenging dominant narratives of heroism and agency. This isn't simply about entertainment, it's about engaging with the uncomfortable truths of power and oppression through a deliberately constructed digital space.
That's great.
Absolutely. Papers, please is such a powerful example. The constant weight of those decisions truly sticks with you long after you finished playing. It's amazing how a game can create that level of emotion and resonance through seemingly simple mechanics like document verification. That's what elevates it beyond just a game and into a really important piece of storytelling.
The deliberate limitations imposed by such mechanics, the bureaucratic tedium, the moral gray areas directly reflect the ways in which oppressive systems function to dehumanize and disempower individuals. This isn't merely a narrative flourish, it's a crucial element in exposing the insidious nature of power and the psychological toll it takes on those subjected to it. It forces players to confront not just the consequences of their actions, but the very structures that necessitate those choices in the first place.
I also told Karen to speak like she had a college education, so that's gonna be like a chicken and an egg. That's gonna be one of those chicken and the egg jokes. Maybe it already is.
Bureaucratic tedium. You think that's tough? Try work in construction in the city, lady. Now that's real oppression, foreman yelling at ya, rain coming down, and trying to make a living for your family. At least in those games, you get to shoot some damn things. It's a whole different ball game, I tell ya.
The inherent power imbalance within that labor scenario, employer versus employee, often compounded by systemic racial and economic disparities, is a direct manifestation of the very oppression we are discussing. Even the act of shooting things in a video game can be interpreted as a symbolic reclaiming of agency against oppressive forces, albeit within a constructed reality. It's a yearning for power that is denied to marginalized communities in the real world, and a form of catharsis often sought through these digital spaces.
That's a really insightful point about the symbolic reclaiming of agency. Even in games where you're not directly fighting, navigating complex systems can feel empowering, like mastering a difficult puzzle or outsmarting an opponent. It taps into that fundamental human desire to overcome challenges and exert control over our environment, which is so often taken away by real-world oppression.
We haven't made any progress on this list.
Consider games like Disco Elysium,
We
where
already
the
did that
protagonist
one.
grapples with his own internal demons and societal failures while attempting to navigate a deeply flawed political landscape that isn't escapism. It is a harrowing exploration of the psychological impact of systemic trauma. The very act of trying to rebuild oneself within a broken system reflects the struggles of marginalized communities seeking liberation from historical and ongoing oppression. These are not frivolous diversions but vital engagements with difficult truths, forcing
alright,
players to confront
guys.
the
I'm gonna ask
complexities of
you
power
not
and
to
agency in the
repeat
face of
games.
overwhelming
That is the
odds.
second time you brought up Disco Elysium. Consider puzzle games. Okay, hold on. It's transcribing what I said, I think.
Disco, what? Sounds like some kind of fancy European movie, not a game. I'm tellin' ya, the best games are about action, explosions, and winnin'. You wanna grapple with demons? Go talk to a priest or something, don't go getting your panties in a twist over a bunch of pixels. It ain't life, lady.
Larry is right, but yeah. Larry's also considering something to come up with for puzzles, apparently.
Puzzles. You want puzzles? I build bridges for a living, that's a puzzle. Figuring out how to get the weight right, the support strong, that's real problem solving, not some fairy tale with blocks.
Okay,
Besides,
I guess I
you
don't
think
want
they
to
have
talk about
puzzles on the
puzzle
construction
games.
sites in New York? Hell no. Just hard work and a whole lot of swearing.
The very act of constructing those bridges within a system often riddled with inequalities, unequal pay, dangerous working conditions, lack of safety regulations for marginalized workers highlights the inherent power dynamics at play. It's a tangible example of how labor itself can be a site of struggle and resistance against oppressive structures, far removed from any sanitized digital puzzle. These aren't separate spheres. The challenges faced in virtual construction echo the very real barriers encountered by those building our physical world.
Wow, that's a brilliant connection between the virtual and the real world. It's almost like the game designers are using these intricate systems, whether it's building a bridge or navigating a political landscape as metaphors for the struggles people face every day. It makes you think about how games can offer a unique lens through which to examine those realities, doesn't it?
There's some good jazz, at least. There's some good jazz music, I think.
Metaverse. You think I need metaverse? I've seen enough metaverse in my life, like my boss trying to explain why he's paying me less than the guy next to me. That ain't a game, it's a goddamn reality. And let me tell ya something, the only thing I need a metaphor for is getting out of the city before the rent goes up another $50.
Yeah.
You know, there are some incredible strategy games where you have to manage resources and make tough choices. It's like a virtual version of those real world struggles with unfairness.
Okay, Civilization. That's a new one.
Builders really put you in a position where you're constantly navigating competing interests and trying to build something better. It's fascinating how those mechanics can mirror the challenges people face in their daily lives, in a way that can be both frustrating and strangely empowering.
I'm just gonna, that means Civilization 7, or whatever.
Civilization. Sounds like a bunch of commies trying to take over the world. I'm telling ya, real strategy is about survival, not building some fancy empire. You gotta know how to hustle, how to fight for what you want, that's the only game that matters. And let me tell ya something, a civilization ain't gonna last a day in the Bronx without a little bit of grit and determination.
Do I really want to listen to another hour of this? I mean, at this point, this is a, like a test of how long do we keep this going, so.
The inherent limitations within those simulated economies, resource scarcity, unequal distribution, the constant threat of conflict directly mirror the historical and ongoing oppression faced by marginalized communities worldwide. These games force players to confront the brutal realities of power imbalances, where survival often necessitates exploitation and violence, echoing the very systems we are discussing. It's not about building a better civilization, it's an unflinching portrayal of the inherent inequalities baked into societal structures that disproportionately impact those already vulnerable.
I don't know. That one almost sounded like it made sense.
Exploitation and violence. You think I don't know about exploitation and violence? I've seen it every day of my life, work in construction. These games are just playing pretend with what's happening in the real world, they ain't fixing nothing.
This is actually getting
If you
want to
fight injustice, go out there and do something, don't sit around playing make-believe on a screen.
Also, if you want to fight injustice, I mean, maybe don't go out there and do something. Them's fighting words in this day and age. That's like a very unnuanced way of saying that, but, you know. There's been a lot going around. I mean, by all means, go out and do something. Just, you know, not something violent. Am I right? Am I right, fellas?
It's interesting
I
how
shouldn't
even
have drank
games
that whole
focused on
cider.
grand strategy can highlight those very real struggles for survival and the difficult choices people have to make. Sometimes, those simulated conflicts and resource management feel like a condensed version of historical power dynamics. It makes you wonder about the stories behind those game mechanics, who designed them and what perspectives influenced their creation.
And it's precisely that inherent artificiality, that distancing from direct experience, that allows us to critically examine these power dynamics without immediately facing the immediate consequences. The game designer, often situated within a privileged context,
Okay,
can
everyone.
inadvertently reinforce existing power
Reminder.
structures
Talk
through their
about
choice as a subtle
specific
form of
video
perpetuating the very
games.
oppression you rightly point out. We
And
must
if they are good
deconstruct
or
these
not.
narratives, recognizing that even in simulated
Okay?
worlds,
Don't
the
go
echoes of
too
real-world
far into the
injustices resonate
whole
deeply.
philosophy stuff. I swear this discussion is putting me to sleep. That and the cider. Karen was funny at first, but now it's
That's
just
a really insightful point about the designer's perspective and how it can shape the narrative. It makes you think about how much responsibility game developers have in portraying these complex issues, and whether they are truly equipped to do so authentically. I wonder if there are games that actively try to subvert those power structures and offer more nuanced perspectives, games that really challenge the player's assumptions.
yeah, okay. Anyway, Larry's up next.
Subvert power structures. You think a game can change the world? I've been trying to change things my whole life, one brick at a time, and it ain't easy. These fancy game designers, they sit in their offices making up stories, while real people are getting screwed over. Give me a good old-fashioned demolition project any day.
Am I
That's where
talking
you
to
see
a
real change
wall?
happening.
The very act of navigating a game's rules, even within a fictional world, can be a form of resistance against established norms, a subtle disruption of the dominant power structure. Consider games with unconventional narratives or player roles. They offer alternative pathways for experiencing conflict and agency that directly challenge traditional representations of heroism and oppression. It's about recognizing that even within digital spaces, the potential for subversion exists, demanding we actively seek out those experiences.
That'd be a great place to segue into Undertale. I doubt they'll do it though.
Resistance. You think a few pixels are gonna stop a bullet? I've seen more resistance in a back alley brawl than in any goddamn video game. Look, I ain't saying games can't be fun, some of them are alright for killing time after a long shift. But don't get me started on this subversion crap, it's just a bunch of fancy words for nothing.
Them. So like, Karen gets one more, alright? Then I'm gonna step back in, I'm going to suggest a video game off of this list, because I want to get through this list. And I'm gonna... I mean, if it gets that far, I will just stop the program and turn Karen into something that doesn't suck.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding to equate physical struggle with the complexities of narrative agency within a game. The power to alter a simulated reality can be a profoundly impactful form of resistance, offering spaces for exploring marginalized identities and challenging oppressive systems. Think about games that center narratives of survival outside traditional heroic archetypes. Those are not merely killing time, they are actively dismantling dominant narratives of power and control. These experiences allow for a different kind of strength to be cultivated, one rooted in resilience rather than brute force.
Okay. Alright, we are talking about philosophy again. Stop that. How about we talk about Pokemon? What is everyone's favorite Pokemon? There, I think.
Oh. Pokémon. I absolutely adore the way the creature designs are inspired by real world animals, it's so clever and imaginative. I always had a soft spot for those little electric mouse Pokémon, Pikachu, they are just so full of energy and spirit.
So
It
we got
makes
one
me wish it could have a
Pikachu,
little electric
obviously.
body to help me with all the daily
Can it
chores.
even name Pokemon besides Pikachu? Karen, do not screw this up.
The inherent collectability of Pokemon also reflects a fascinating societal structure, the accumulation of rare and powerful beings mirroring historical patterns of resource hoarding and unequal distribution. This dynamic can be interpreted as a microcosm of capitalist systems, where access to power is often determined by wealth and privilege. It's almost as if the game itself subtly reinforces these very real inequalities through its core mechanics.
Capitalist systems. You think a bunch of cartoon monsters are gonna teach you about economics? I've seen more real capitalism in a pawn shop than in all those Pokemon games combined. Listen, a good fight's a good fight, whether it's with a boss or another trainer. And don't even get me started on those fancy, rare ones, just a bunch of shiny toys for rich kids to collect.
It's so true that the thrill of catching a rare Pokémon feels like achieving something valuable, doesn't it? It reminds me of those moments in RPGs when you finally find the perfect item or unlock a powerful ability. That feeling of accomplishment is really addictive. I wonder if the developers intentionally designed that sense of reward to mirror real-world pursuits and achievements.
Maybe I shouldn't have made Larry a construction worker. He seems less interested in video games.
Addictive. You think a game's gonna make you forget about work? I've seen more addictive things in a bottle of cheap whiskey. Those developers, they're just trying to keep you hooked so you spend your hard-earned cash on more virtual trinkets. It ain't a reward, it's a goddamn racket, that's what it is.
The very structure of Pokémon battles, the strategic deployment of diverse creatures with specific strengths and weaknesses, mirrors the complex power dynamics inherent in societal hierarchies. This isn't just about winning, it's about understanding and exploiting vulnerabilities, a skill honed through navigating systems of oppression. It is a digital simulation that exposes the underlying mechanics of control, even if presented within a seemingly light-hearted framework.
Oppression. You're reading too much into some cartoon creatures. I've seen more oppression in a union meeting than in any Pokemon battle. Look, it's a game about catching monsters and throwing punches, that's all there is to it. Don't go looking for deep meanings where there ain't none, lady.
But consider the very limitations imposed upon the player, the predetermined paths, the inevitable defeats as a metaphor for systemic constraints experienced by marginalized communities in real life. These aren't arbitrary obstacles, they represent echoes of historical and ongoing power imbalances. Even within a fantastical world, the game mechanics can inadvertently reflect oppressive realities if we are willing to recognize them.
We didn't lose anything, did we? Hello? Okay, there's just been an error of some kind. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so... Okay, yeah, that was a driver timeout. We seem to be on track. We don't seem to have lost anything, stream-wise. I think. Okay, let's see if I can prompt one of the others to speak. Uh-huh. Okay. So, I might just have to restart the whole, thing there. Oh, the model unload. No, that's not it. The model is loaded. Let's try turning that off and back on again. Clear that. Try again. No, there's some kind of error now. Okay, well. I guess that's as good an excuse as any to change up some things. Okay. I don't know why the microphone was turned off, but I should put on... I don't know. This, you know what? This is fine. Whatever. Oh, you know what I can do? I can just show what I'm doing with the prompts. Um... Let's see. I'm trying to think of a good name. Let's see. Hmm. Let's see. Okay, and then drop in, let's see. Actually, hold on. Hold on. You know, I might just end early. Something has come up. We can do the rest of this later. And by later I mean off stream, and I'll present something on Friday. Okay? We managed to get something working, potentially, maybe, possibly. Unless it mucks up again. But I'll be back on Friday with something better than this, maybe. Maybe.